Welcome to the Lost and Found Mama, the Immigrant Mother podcast. I'm Avantika, your host, and today I have with me Freda Stephen, all the way from Nigeria, who's going to talk about her journey here in Canada as an immigrant and also as an entrepreneur. Freda, welcome to the show. So, Freda, how did your life look like back in Nigeria, your day-to-day life?
Oh, that's a great question. So I had a regular life, I would say. I had just gotten married. I would say that was sometime in May 2023. And my husband and I moved from a particular state in Nigeria to another state. Actually thinking about it, there's been a lot of movements and transitions and status. So day to day, I had a business that I was running in interior design. I was working with top interior designers and brands in Nigeria. I was helping them design their weddings and supply their weddings, hotels, Airbnbs, etc. So I had a busy life, I would say, day to day, growing my little family, and then I'm running my business as well.
Right. So, how did Canada come into the picture?
Okay. It's been a long time coming. Right from when I was a little child, a young girl.
Okay.
I always had a dream and I always wanted to be abroad. My mom can attest to this. I would practice being on the phone and speaking in the foreign accents and just, communicating with people abroad. I was just a little child in Nigeria. Right. And then I always also valued and admired from afar international education. I'm from a very humble home. And so there's 6 of us. And I knew that my parents also wanted that very best for us. So I was targeting international education at some point, trying my best and doing all of that. It wasn't really working out. I would say when I then met my husband, it was almost like, okay, stars are aligning. But I mean, that's on a lighter note, but it just felt like values aligned. That's what I meant to say. And he had been pursuing permanent residency prior to meeting me. And then when we met, it was almost passing stated, and we just realized that we could really be in Canada in the next couple of months, and we did.
That's how it happened.
That's how it's.
So, did you initially arrive on a dependent visa or was it PR?
It was PR. Oh, from the right of the back, it was PR.
Nice. And what sparked that conversation about moving?
About moving, okay. So, like I said, before I met my husband, he was already pursuing his permanent residence in Canada. He had a lot of back and forth with, the application process, updating information and all of that. And then when he met me, there was a consideration. Should I add my spouse? Would it affect the processing time? Would it support the processing time? The dilemma with moving abroad. It was quite stressful, but we realized, hey, we have to get married. We have to be honest with the application. He did get married. Then he updated the application, to reflect his marital status. And in a couple of months, we were here. So the conversation really flowed naturally because I had interests already, moving abroad. Like I said, I had interest with international education already. I was pursuing that already. And then he came along and he was like, what? We really already planning to move to Canada. Yeah. I was like, how so? Yeah, I applied for my permanent residence status and we got married. And he added me to the application, like I already said, and we got approved in a couple of months.
And what did that timeline look for you?
So we're looking at, if I'm not mistaken, we got married sometime in May.
Yeah.
And by December, we were,
Yes. Coming to December, you arrived in December and how? 6 months pregnant, during Christmas, peak winters. And, take me back to that moment. What was actually going through your mind when you were about to leave Nigeria and you were going to board that plane and come to Canada, Calgary? What were your thoughts like?
To be honest with you, when I look back now, I wondered the same thing. What was I thinking? Here I was pregnant. I would say heavily pregnant already.
Yep.
Newlywed.
Yep.
And thinking about making this disastrous move. Both side and quote. But what was going through my mind was I really told my husband, I had told him, I don't want to be in Nigeria come 2024 January. It was almost like I wanted to start the new year fresh in the country that I always wanted to be in.
Yeah.
So it was a choice. It was a sacrifice. I need, let's just go with this baby and let's see what would become of us at the end of the day. So we had to really put before us the pros and the cons, and we decided, oh, our baby's going to be born here in Canada. That's already some sort of advantage, right? And for us, it's also going to be some sort of more, interesting and accommodating healthcare experience. And we're going to have the opportunity to start our lives right off the bat. We're going to face this eventually. So let's just do it now. So that's really what was going through my mind. There was also concern. I won't say fear. There was the big concern of going on the plane 13 hours.
Yeah.
From Nigeria to Canada. And what would happen? Would I be comfortable? How would I, adjust to that?
Yeah.
And then going to a country where I had no mom or dad, or brother or sister, right? So those were the things going through my mind. Well, we had to set ourselves up for the journey, and we did.
But, like you mentioned, 6 months pregnant, did you need any medical certifications that you were good to travel for that long period? How did you sort of navigate the flying part of it?
Do you know what? To be honest, in hindsight, I did need to have something from my doctor. And the reason was, I thank God, the pregnancy in the early stage had some challenges, right? And we were really concerned about going on the journey at 5 months, 6 months pregnant, that long journey with everything that we had experienced in the pregnancy. And so we had to have our doctor consent to that journey.
Yep.
We got a written letter. It wasn't like the airline needed it or anything. We were just prepared just in case we got questions or God forbid anything happened on the flight. But we did get like a letter, from our doctor consenting to it, literally even tabling my health records and health history, the pregnancy history to be precise, but I had that with me all through the journey and never used it. So it was handy, but it was never used.
Thankfully, you didn't have to use. I didn't have to.
I didn't have to. I mean, and looking back, that's definitely one of the moments I'm grateful for in the journey. It was just a smooth one. I would walk the plane, a couple of minutes every hour and try to have my eggs elevated, try to get comfortable. I had my backpack stocked with my favorite snacks. Water, was hydrated and just was very comfortable. Comfortable shoes, comfortable socks, clothing. That's how I really, preparing myself for the journey.
Awesome. And then you arrived. You arrived in Canada. What were like the first few days for you? You just landed. You were pregnant. I'm sure you had a healthcare provider requirement as well because you were already 6 months into the pregnancy. So, what were the first few days like? What all did you set up after you arrived here in Calgary?
Yeah. So truthfully, when we arrived, we didn't arrive in Calgary first. Okay. We had a stop down in Montreal. We stayed in Montreal for a couple of days. We stayed in an Airbnb because I needed to cook. Funny story.
Yeah.
I had frozen food in my bags.
From Nigeria? From Nigeria.
Wow. I had my food frozen up. I had some stew, Then I would make some rice and some stew just to survive. Yeah, I knew the first few days I wanted to just be comfortable. I'm pregnant.
Yeah.
I just want to be comfortable.
Yeah.
Right? I didn't want to be eating fries and chicken and just getting acclimatized to new food in a new country. So landing in Montreal for a couple of days, and then we went on to Ontario. And then from Ontario, we came to Calgary. So that's really how it was. But then second in all of these first few days really just taught me that the human mind is very versatile, so to say. Yeah, it's very malleable. Never ever restrict yourself and say, this is how I am and this is only how I'm going to survive. To be honest, if you're put in a jungle, you're going to survive. There's survival instincts. That's what they call it. And that's really what happened to me as well. I'm the last person, like in all of my family, to really be the first to undergo stress so gracefully. My family members always joke about me all the time. I'm the least expected person to survive in the stressful state.
Oh, is it?
That's what they say about me. But it really wasn't true. Moving to Canada showed me that I'm really be able to withstand whatever situation that comes my way. And that's what happened when I moved.
Wow. So, coming to Calgary and then giving birth here in Calgary, you mentioned that at the time of birth, your mom could not be here. She eventually did come after 5 months. But what was the delivery experience like? It was just you and your husband giving birth in a foreign country with no mom, dad, sister, brother, nobody by your side. How did that feel?
So, to be honest, it felt different, but I would not discredit the fact that one of the things that I and myself and my husband really, told ourselves that we're going to do when we come to Canada was build community. Not just build, but first find the community.
Yeah.
So we did find, so we had our community. We didn't have mom, dad, auntie, uncle, cousin, brother or sister, but we had friends.
Yes.
We had community. We had a church that had people who were strongly behind us and with us and beside us. And that pregnancy and delivery experience, even though it felt like, oh, it was just us, we had them. We had people on standby waiting to hear, oh, the baby's here, and waiting to be in our homes the next day with soaps, with, do you need me to wash the baby? Do you need me to do this, do that? We have that community. Even though we didn't want to overuse that community, because this is Canada and everybody's really busy, everyone has their lives. But we had people that were willing to be there for us. And of course, there's nothing like really having your own mom here, having your own blood here. It did take my mom about 5 months or more for Risha to be here. But it did come through. I was just happy to have her, even though my baby was ready to start work first. Yeah, she did come. It was a good experience.
But really happy to know that you built that community right from the day you came here and you found support in that community because they are our home away from home. So really happy to hear that. But because you said, everybody's really busy in Canada and, you can only ask for help so much. So what were those early few months with a newborn like? Because ultimately 24/7 is just you and your husband, when we talk about the village that we are supposed to have, but we usually don't have in today's lives.
Yeah.
What was it like with a newborn the first few months? Because, you were navigating a new everything, new country, new culture, new systems, and a new baby. So what was it like?
Wow. The first few months really felt like a roller coaster. Because like I said, yes, we did have a community, but I mean, they would come and go.
Exactly.
It would be me and my baby, my husband. Yeah. And mind you, in all of this, we're still newcomers to Canada, still navigating our newcomer activities, and like getting your social security, getting healthcare, getting a job.
Yeah.
I was also actively looking for a job, pregnant and post-baby.
Right immediately after delivering?
Oh, yeah. So at 5 months old, I believe that should have been August, right? My baby was born in April
Mm-hmm.
of 2024. And by August of 2024, I was in the workforce. I was already working.
Wow. From home.
Yeah.
So
I was,
yeah. You took up a job that soon?
I did. I was eager.
Okay.
So I wanted that job before I had my baby, to be honest. Okay. But it didn't come as quickly as I wanted it, but it was fine for me.
Yeah.
So when it came, as soon as I had my baby and my mom came as well, it was just okay, great timing because my mom was around. She would help with the baby while I'm working.
Yeah.
You know, I have a picture actually
Mhm.
of me holding my baby, right?
Yeah.
And in training on my new job, like literally holding her. So I had times when I would literally be nursing and it connected to your meeting.
And how did that feel like? Because, it's said that the hormones, the women hormones, they literally drop by like 1,000% once you deliver a baby. So what was the feeling like? And, how did you just sort of get through that period? You're getting into a new job, you're training for the job, and you're also nursing a baby. Um, Apart from the physical challenges that it comes with, the nursing and the managing all of it, what was it emotionally like for you?
Wow. Banzika, I immediately have to think of all these questions. Emotionally, I think I was trying my best to keep it together. I think that's the best way I can put it because, and my husband would say, he literally was just watching me like, I wouldn't say zombie, but robot every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Baby, I don't want formula for my baby. For job, I have to be awake at this time. Like, having everything, I think that's also a coping mechanism.
Yeah.
I think my emotions and my hormones just help me cope. Because, like I said, survival instinct. In that moment, I knew I had to. I wanted a job.
Yeah.
I wanted a job. And I wanted to have a baby.
Mm.
And I wanted to nurse. I didn't want to outsource any of these. I put it in school. In that moment, I had to really talk myself into it. And again, I would bring in faith here because I'm a believer, and that helped me.
Yeah.
That is really it helped me. In those moments, we did not rely on our own strengths. We rely on the strength of God. And so in that moment, that's how I was able to draw in that strength and just do it. In hindsight, thinking about it, I'm asking myself the question, did I really do that? I did.
You did. And I like to say this to everybody who comes on the show, when you look back in hindsight, I don't think it gets easier. You just get stronger.
Yes.
And, everybody has their own source from where they draw that strength. And I think from what you were saying, I inferred that the strength that you showed was actually derived from the faith that you have.
Yes.
Very, very beautiful concept.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And for me, as a Christian, as a believer, that's like my reality. We're able to take on the things that are to an ordinary person impossible, difficult, hard, and tasking. We're able to really draw in from the strength of God and see those things into fruition.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Now I'm going to come back to building your new life. So, like we spoke about how you were actually building up your community here. What are the first steps that you actually took towards building that community? You said you joined a church and, so did you actually literally grow your community from the church itself, or what were the initial few steps towards building that community?
Okay. It's a great question. So first things first, and this is an emotional moment for me. I had a friend. We did lose her sometime this year.
And so,
Yeah, no, that's fine. So when I say community, it really stemmed from two lovely ladies, my friends, Christiana and Onyinye. So these are friends that I knew from 15 years ago. They're about 15. How old am I? I'm trying to remember. Yeah, about thereabout. Yeah. And when one of them learned that I was coming to Canada and going to stay in Calgary, in fact, their presence in Calgary shaped part of my reasons for deciding to come to Calgary. Look, of course, Canada is blessed. There are other provinces and cities, but we did look at it critically. And we're like, oh, Calgary is family friendly. It'd be nice to move here. And then, of course, I'm coming pregnant.
Yeah.
Priority really is support.
Yeah.
And these two ladies, being here was first point of building that community. The first church I actually attended here was because one of these ladies was attending the church, and then it was okay. We can come to this family, it's a community. So it started from there. I no longer go to that church right now, but these were the first steps that I took to build the community in a personal way. Now socially, I also relied on a lot of information and resources that the country had to offer. There are lots of organizations and resources available to new moms, immigrant moms, especially if you're coming into the country for the first time, you have no jobs or anything. There are resources that I also try to explore to help me settle in. So I think those are the first steps that I took.
And that's exactly what my next question is, what advice would you like to give to newcomers who are coming into a new country? How do you think they can sort of find their people, their community? One you mentioned being the, resources that the country provides. But on a deeper level, if you were to say, what advice would you give them for people who are actually struggling to find their own people?
I think Canada is one of the most diverse countries in the world. Your people are not scarce. You get to define who or what your people are. If you're restricting your people to race, to color, you'll find your people.
Yeah.
But if you're restricting your people to values, common goals, you will also find your people. Now, I would like to say start from somewhere. Start from where you are. We're in a very digital world here. We're in the social media age. You can meet people, dates.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can that's how we met. So you can always explore the tech ladies in my city, new moms in my community. Facebook, if you're into that, Facebook has tons of groups. You can also search for events in Calgary, events in Boston, wherever you are. And you can just follow these trends, follow these events. And then, at the end of the day, I really feel like it takes one person you're able to meet, to come in contact with, and you can build your community on their existing community. And it starts from there. Again, give yourself grace and give yourself time because you're new. That's the truth. You just need this record-breaking transition and decision to move to Canada from your home country. So give yourself grace. Take it one step at a time. And even if it takes you a while, maintain the already existing relationships and communities you have or have had from your home country and explore their network because you never know who knows who in where you're going to or where you are. Be my advice.
Wonderful, wonderful. Let's talk about your business. In the midst of the transition of a new motherhood experience, navigating the new systems and finding your rhythm in a new place, you also set up your decoration business. That's amazing. First of all, when did you make that decision and what made you think that, okay, now I think this is the time?
Yeah, great question. So I have to put this disclaimer out here. In all my years of living, I don't think I've ever done anything that had to do with balloon decoration until I came to Canada.
Wow. Yeah, and here you are. Here I am doing it. Probably registered business, baby. Wow, I have to say, I have checked out her page. It's beautiful. It's lovely.
Okay. So what made me go into it? So remember I talked about two friends of mine, one who is now resting with the angels and the other one who's very much around with us. It was my friend who's now departed. It was her baby shower.
Okay.
And we had shortlisted vendors who's going to do decorations, going to do that.
Yeah.
And I looked at the decoration. I was like, okay, this is something I can actually do. But
Really?
that's really how we started.
Okay.
We had contracted the vendor to do it.
Yeah.
And we were going to just pay a deposit.
Okay.
And then I told our other friend, hey, I'm going to do this. Don't worry.
Wow.
I have a picture and I did it.
Yep.
And when I did it, I wasn't thinking, trust me, that wasn't even the beginning of the business. That was just me doing it for my friend.
Yeah.
I did the baby shower decoration, did the canopies, the chops and cocktails and all of that. I have a picture. And after that, well, JP event, I had a lot of people just taking pictures, asking, do you know this? How much would it cost to do this?
Wow.
You just, and I'm just smiling like, no, I don't do this. I have a job. Sorry. And after that, couple of weeks later, we lost my friend. And I sat there thinking, what if we didn't have this thing show up for her? What if we didn't put together, like, that literally was her last joyful memory. Of course, before having her baby.
Yeah.
But doing the decoration just made me feel like I was part of a very big picture. Like I helped in shaping the very last moments of her life. And then I realized that, this is something I can do. Just helping people put some more significance on the memories that will literally be fleeting.
Yeah.
Or you can immortalize memories even when those moments are long gone.
Yeah.
You look back, you see your pictures, you remember your events, you remember how beautiful it was, how well decorated it was, and then you had those memories with you for the rest of your life. And then I knew that, okay, this is something I could do. Mind you, I've always been entrepreneur. I've always been business oriented. So that wasn't a very hard switch for me. I've always loved decoration, interior decoration. I've always loved to beautify things.
Yeah.
I always loved to decorate my home. And so it wasn't a hard transition. It was different.
Yeah.
Because I never done event decoration before.
Yeah.
But transitioning to that, I found it interesting. And then I began to develop myself on the journey to become an organic certified balloon stylist, by the way, in a couple of months.
Awesome.
Yeah, so just training and learning and improving my craft and skill. Wow. Yeah.
So, what would you say were some of the biggest challenges that you felt setting up this business in a new country? Because there are different laws, different regulations. You have to build customers. You have to build your credibility from scratch. You do have, your education in interior design, which I'm sure would have come in handy. But what was it like, starting from scratch and getting to know the regulations? Because, like you said, there are some certifications needed as well. So, what were those challenges like?
I would say for me, the challenge really wasn't so much about regulation Of course, I had to open my mind to learn about the taxations, tax implications, and all of that. And, having a business insured, having a business registered, those were the pointers for me.
Yeah.
But the major thing was building, like you said, credibility and building a loyal customer base here in such a market where sometimes I look at other balloon stylists or event decorators and I'm like, okay, how do I find my place in the midst of all of this? They've been here in existence before me, doing their thing in a certain way. People have grown to embrace them.
So, yeah.
They've grown to build a loyal customer base. How do I find my voice, my style, my God, in the midst of all this? And to be honest, it just takes one referral. You will be surprised. It just takes one single referral, one person who's happy with the service or who likes you. Yeah, likability is something in business.
Yeah.
Trust me, you might have the best crafted skill, but if you're not likable, generally in life, I think it's a rule. If you're not likable, it's hard for you to really advance. So it just takes one person who can really refer you for your skill or for the relationship. And you're able to build from there. I'm not saying you're always going to have like very noisy moments in your DMs or your emails or your booking softwares. It's have very quiet moments, quiet months or days where you're not getting any bookings or referrals. But those are times where you just really double down on building your skill, building your craft and getting more credible in your industry. Yeah, so that's really the challenge I'm still going through as a very new business is really I'm also balancing it with those
Wait, other aspects. I was just gonna come that you're running the business, you're working, and you're raising your dollar. How are you balancing it?
So a very lucky lady from back home in Nigeria. Her name is Owen Omogapo. God, I hope I didn't murder her name. But she's one of the people I would consider a mentor in terms of work ethic and family life dynamics. I may not know so much about her family in details, but from again what I see on social media and listening to her speak, listening to her in the life, I think she has erased the term work-life balance from her vocabulary. I think there's a different way she terms it or coins it. Everything just has to integrate into each other. For example, my daughter would come, she was at a setup with me yesterday. Yeah. I went to decorate a home and she was at that setup with me. These are the things that, some business people may not experience. You may have the opportunity or luxury of having a sitter or someone to watch your child or a neighbor. But I mean, I don't have that. So she would come with me to set up. So my husband, when he's not working, he's there driving the van. We have the van loaded with our stuff, going to the venue. He's there tearing down everything, equipment, whatever, taking it back. My daughter is there with me in the car. And also, these are some of the ways that we tie everything together to still have a wholesome life. And then Mondays to Fridays, I'm holding my 9 to 5. And then thankfully these days I have mostly weekend events. But if I do have to have weekday events, I'll plan to such a way that I'm prepping in between my breaks, my lunch breaks, whatever I'm prepping. It's difficult, because seems like 24 hours is not enough. But as moms like me, we work when the family's sleeping.
Exactly. I remember radio AM conversations, so yeah, I was new to that.
So it is really is what it is. The life that, I have as a new mom who's trying to put in work in the corporate world and also build a business. Yeah. and also raise a family, grow a family, isn't a walk in the park, to be honest.
Yeah.
But it's rewarding when you start seeing the fruits of your labor, right?
Absolutely.
So I'd say it's challenging in a sense, but find that rhythm, find your rhythm.
Absolutely. Just on a side note, I've interacted with this mama at, I don't know what, 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. in the morning, and she's gotten up to do her cooking for the day. So, we do have that superpower, and I just like to put it out there for everyone who's listening that, we only have so much time and two hands, but we still do it all. What has been the most rewarding part of building your business here in Calgary? What would you say is the most rewarding thing?
The most rewarding thing for me would be seeing what I would say is seed of an idea becoming profitable.
Yeah.
Like no matter what it is, someone is ready to pay
Okay.
for services that you offer. And that's rewarding to me in a totally different environment where I never knew anyone. That's one of the most rewarding things for me. Secondly, it would also be building a loyal community of customers and people who can say, oh, you go to my baby shower, you go to my daughter's second birthday, the adoration. Sharing that's rewarding for me. And really, there's nothing like having a plan, and seeing your plan come to fruition. Thirdly or fourthly, it would also be the ability to pivot. Coming from Nigeria, totally different background, just coming with a dream, idea, and resilience, and then being able to pivot and start to build something from the ground up. I mean, even if tomorrow we change course, change the business idea, but I'll still be very proud of what it is. So being able to just grow from the ideation stage to actually putting out credible service out there is absolutely inspiring to me.
Amazing. I'm going to go back a little bit. When you look at where you are now versus where you were when you first arrived in December 2023, what surprises you the most about this journey?
What surprises me the most? I don't think I've been here. Like, I've never met you. I've never in a million years would I have ever thought that I'm here. That surprises you. You being interviewed or having this chit chat conversation about my journey. That's one. I'm saying that to say never in a million years would I have ever thought that one day I would want to inspire with my journey or encourage with my journey. That's the beauty of life. Wherever you are now it's not just a phase. It's a story of your becoming. It's really a story of your unfolding. It's the story of your journey. It's not a waste. No matter what it looks like, it's not a waste. To you, it's not a waste too. Your community is not a waste. So that's one thing that surprises me.
Awesome. And if you were to go back and talk to the Freda who was boarding that plane in 2023, what would you tell her? Because this is my favorite question. I ask this to almost everybody.
What I would tell her? I would say I should have had some more frozen food. Yeah, because that one really went by quickly.
Now I want to know what those foods were.
I can tell you. Yeah, I had frozen soup.
Okay.
I had frozen stew. So you have
Like prepared from home and frozen.
yeah. Wow. I've made it like a month or 2 months before I was going to travel and had it frozen, like rock solid. And I had, of course, raw rice, raw pasta, just so many things.
Wow. Do you want to do more? We might have to create an entire different episode for that because finding your food and your spices in a new country, that's a different topic altogether.
Especially if you're pregnant, trust me, anyone to do it. where do I find this? I wanted to be so prepared. I mean, that's on a lighter note. But what I would also tell the person who's boarding the plane, the younger Freda or the newer immigrant version of me who was boarding the plane tomorrow and coming to Canada, I'll say brace up.
Yeah.
It's a new terrain. From the moment your feet touch the ground, your mind also has to be renewed. You're not home. You're now in a new country. You're about to learn new culture. You're about to learn new language, if need be. You're about to learn new rules and regulations. You're about to also realign every ideology that you had about people, about the world. I will tell anyone coming also, get ready to pivot. Get ready to start afresh. Get ready to rebuild. And lastly, don't be afraid.
Just take that step.
Don't be afraid.
If she at 6 months pregnant can do it, so can you.
Ah.
What would you want your beautiful daughter to know about this chapter of your lives once she's old enough to understand?
So, for that little girl, I'd want her to really know that, contrary to how I was raised and how I grew up, more shielded, less adventurous, I would clearly want her to explore and know more about the world in terms of fluidity and how you're able to adapt to whatever comes your way. Teaching her resilience, teaching her adaptability, because guess what? She's now Canadian Nigerian. She's got dual citizenship. That tells a lot more about what kind of future she'll have compared to the kind of future the kind of past I had when I was at her age. It speaks to the opportunities available to her. So I would remove whatever restrictions that, I probably had growing up in a very shaded and very, restricted environment. I would remove that and just let her know that these are the steps that, her parents are taking to come and be here where we are. Therefore, she's able to invent solar on eagle's wings. I would just let her know that she's able to access, she's able to interrogate opportunities and able to take on challenges as she sees fit.
Beautiful, beautiful. So you've navigated something what many people would consider to be a very difficult transition. I don't think everybody's cut out for it. It takes a lot of strength and resilience being on this side of the world. So what do you think about that resilience? Have you cultivated it, or was it something that was in you from the get-go?
That's a wonderful question. So, in a typical Nigerian home, middle-aged Nigerian home, middle class Nigerian home, I think there are a couple of common factors I believe you would find. One of which really is resilience, and just strength of the mind, strength of the body, zeal. And then in a Christian home, like I was brought up, my parents really shaped our ideologies, shaped our perspectives. And I'm super, and I forever be grateful to them for that. Resilience, I don't know if I was born with it, but from a little age, tender age, I've literally walked in that. I'm not really giving up on opportunities or passing up on my turns or opportunities that really came my way. And my father, the person would always be there to push you. Well, my mom has been a businesswoman, an astute businesswoman for most of her life under the most unfavorable conditions. She was literally neck deep in business. Come rain, literally. Come sunshine, literally. She would be there, trading her goods. And so my dad, very dogged, very resilient, never accepted no for any opportunity that came his way. I watched these people, they raised me. So automatically there was that transference, of course. Growing up in that home, my dad never, ever for once made any of myself or my siblings feel like we couldn't achieve anything, regardless of the restrictions in terms of resources. We always had the go ahead from our parents. I think that is very important in terms of raising children. You do always want to make them feel like they can do something. You also show them that they can do it. Now, this is putting resources availability aside. The mind is capable of determining how far a child can go, provided you as a parent, you feel you are literally modeling the right example, practically. So that's what I had. I think that's what shaped my resilience.
That's a beautiful message for everyone out there. Thank you for sharing that. What does becoming feel like to you, as a mother, as a woman, and as yourself? At the moment, what is becoming mean to you?
So I'm becoming because I'm evolving. So I think that evolution, um, in mine, in the body kg, I was a size 8 to 10. Oh my goodness. Before I got married and had my baby, so there's that uh transition that our minds, our bodies go through as moms. And for me, that's where I'm at. Um Becoming isn't just like a term or a word for me. Starting a business, getting a job, growing a family, moving to Canada, try to advance my career, trying to improve on my skills. These are active steps that I'm taking towards, becoming myself again, and, eventually becoming the person that I would say, okay, yeah, let's retire now.
Wow, awesome. I'm just going to ask one last question here. What do you hope people take away from your story after hearing this episode?
That's a great question. What I would say you should take out of this story is find your own story, right? And please don't make the mistake of thinking that your story is going to be similar to anybody's story. You're probably in a very different stage of your life right now, of your becoming journey, right? You may be 10 steps ahead of me, 20 steps behind me, 2 steps behind me, but embrace it. Learn all the lessons that you can along the way. And I hope that my story really just, not really inspires you per se. I don't think I'm worthy of inspiring you.
You don't know the impact it's going to have yet, because like I said, the whole purpose of having this conversation was to talk about your story because it matters. You matter. And I just want to put it out there for everybody who's listening that, we as moms, we get so deep into doing our day-to-day lives and, providing for our children, caregiving, and also trying to do something for ourselves, our partners, our families, that we forget that in doing all of this, we're actually becoming the better version of ourselves, who we were always meant to be through these lived experiences.
Yeah.
So I think I would say, each story matters, each mom matters. And that's exactly the reason why I want to have these conversations.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, Vatika, you couldn't have said that any better. So if you're a new mom, if you're mom to be, or you're just starting a family, you're just an individual, you're transitioning from one stage of your life to another, just remember to give yourself the most grace you can ever give. Take it what I'm trying to say in plain terms is take it easy on you. Yeah. Find your new rhythm now. It's important for you to remember that you've come from somewhere, but also remember that you're now deciding to go somewhere. And your priority really should be on where you're going, your new journey. I mean, I look at myself and I'm like, oh my God, I used to be this size. Well, this size. Yeah. Well, that's the reality. You can still get back to who you think you want to be or what size you think you want to be, but at the end of the day, you need to keep your eyes on that journey ahead. Like, don't for once ever think that you've made a mistake taking the decisions you've taken. No, rather count the rewards you have. Even if you haven't been able to see any rewards yet, just remember that every good thing at the end of the day, it takes time. It takes time to build, it takes time to become.
Freda, thank you so much for sharing your story with us with so much courage and honesty.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me. I'm really, really excited.
For everyone who's listening, if Freda's story resonated with you, if you know someone who needs to hear this today, please share this episode with them. And if you want to support Freda's work or connect with her decoration business, we'll have all her information in the show notes below. To all the lost and found mamas out there, the ones rebuilding, the ones starting over, finding themselves in new places, you're not alone. Your story matters. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you soon in the next episode. Big hug.